This is Drexciya Cruiser Control, Bubble 1 to Lardosian Cruiser 8-203X. Please use extra caution as you pass the Aqua construction site on the side of the Aquabahn. I repeat, proceed with caution.
Drexciya. The duo of James Stinson and Gerald Donald were the most important electro artists of the 90s. As part of the underground resistance crew, they helped pioneer a harder, Detroit-focused strain of the genre. But where their fellow Detroiters looked to outer space for inspiration, Drexciya went under the sea.
Hello, this is Drexciya coming in from the deep end.
Tell me about the ideas and concepts behind Drexciya.
The mythology of Drexciya was first explained in the liner notes of a compilation called The Quest. The notes describe pregnant African slaves thrown overboard on their voyage to America after they were deemed ill and disruptive. The women ended up giving birth to babies that never needed air, leading to the creation of the Drexciyan tribes, who advanced far beyond the human race.
I want to do something that involved a total concept and take people somewhere else instead of giving them the same thing that they see every single day when they step outside the door.
Donald and Stinson lived in Detroit, a technology-obsessed city that was in decay.
You know, it's a lot of rough characters in Detroit, and from top to bottom and left to right. You begin to create what you think the world should be, what you think life should be for everyone else, and I think it developed from that.
The duo tapped into a school of thought called Afrofuturism, which goes all the way back to Sun Ra's early days in the 1950s.
The music is different here, not like Planet Rave.
Sun Ra created a cosmic persona for himself, claiming to not only be from the future, but outer space.
We set up a colony for black people here. See what they can do on the planet all their own without any white people there.
These Afrofuturist themes coursed through black music in the 70s. From the jazz experiments of Miles Davis and Alice Coltrane, to the spaced-out dub reggae of Lee Scratch Perry, to the electronic funk of George Clinton.
It's a very strong belief that we're not from here, that we're from the planet Sirius in the constellation of Orion. If you are Afro-American and you're in a country where your relatives were not able to practice, the culture where they were from because they were slaves brought over from Africa, you adapt in other ways. You recreate your universe. It was done a long time ago out of necessity to stay sane in an insane world.
As with other artists before them, Stinson and Donald dealt with the trauma and despair of black history and black life by imagining an alternate future. But as part of a new generation gripped by the expansion of electronic music, the sound of Afrofuturism evolved.
The early 80s was a critical moment, for me at least, to experience the whole field of electronic music.
The increasing availability of electronic instruments drove this music in a technology-focused, futuristic direction. Drawing inspiration from groups like Yellow Magic Orchestra and Kraftwerk, 80s electro and hip-hop evolved, fusing tales of black life with electronic beats and synths. While producers like Egyptian Lover borrowed vocoders from Italo Disco to sound even more robotic.
I think maybe a lot of the electro of the past, you may have had, artists that deep down they wanted to be R&B stars, whereas Drexciya was like in the opposite direction.
Drexciya made electro that sounded more futuristic than anything before it.
Water has many different properties. It comes in many different forms, many different shapes. It's one of the most powerful elements that's on this planet.
Their fierce arpeggios and rough bass lines reflected the awesome power of water, imitating sea spray and the thrust of tidal waves.
you have to have the sonic side of things to put a picture in your mind of the world of Drexciya and people and how they're living their lives.
The duo fleshed out this underwater world through track titles, label artwork, and occasional spoken word. These were aquatic people who lived in the bubble metropolis. They rode on the aquabahn and performed aqua jiu-jitsu. Over the course of 8 albums known as the Storm series, the duo pieced together a vivid history of Drexciya. In a twist, they expanded their origins from under the sea into outer space, revealing that their ancestors were actually from a far-off planet. The music became more open-ended, morphing from aquatic electro into astral electronica. This revelation put Drexciya's music in a grand lineage of Afrofuturists, who saw outer space not only as a place to escape to, but their rightful home.
In Detroit, we had an extraordinary amount of resources about science fiction and fantasy, and concepts about space travel were kind of ingrained. And I think it was something that was manifesting over time.
The final Drexciya album finished the group's story in epic style. The Drexciyans were finally back on their home planet. The album was named for a star called Grava 4, which wasn't imaginary.
Call the number on your screen or visit us online. Name a star with International Star Registry. It will be the most talked about gift of the year.
Stinson and Donald actually purchased a star and named it Grava 4. This rooted their Afrofuturist narrative in a real existing place. As noted by Afrofuturist Kojo Ashun, Drexciya grant themselves the imperial right to nominate and colonize interstellar space. The absurdity of buying and owning a distant star in no way diminishes the contractual obligation that group entered into. Contractual fact meets sonic fiction meets astronomical mapping. By purchasing a star, Drexciya left their mark on a tangible part of the universe and made their Afrofuturist fantasy a part of the real world. Though they stopped producing music after Stinson died in 2002, their records live on as the most innovative, futuristic, and inspiring in the electro genre.
I think the reason why the Drexciya myth endures and inspires so many people now is because it's the story of the underdog. So what Drexciya give to everybody is the gift of imagination from a group of people it was stolen from.
Grava 4 ends with a track called Astronomical Guidepost. It beckons the listener, or the Drexciyans, to
use the star chart to plot your path back to Earth using rudimentary astronomical guideposts.
This marks the end of a story that has proven one of the most powerful in all of dance music.
Stay deep, stay pressurized. Drexciya's out.